So, hello everybody. Daniel Stabler here. Like, comment, share, dislike, hate on me, don't care. I have to talk about this. I wanted to talk about it a couple days ago, but camera kept coming loose, so I had to calm down, relax. Anyway, I want to say this about the storming of the Capitol building. I get it. I get why Trump supporters were angry enough that they actually marched up and they were trying to get in. I get it. I don't condone how they were trying to do it, but it was a select few. It wasn't everyone. Listen to Brandon Tatum's live call-in on his YouTube, and one lady called in, said she was there, and she said really what they're not showing you in the media is that for the most part it was peaceful. Like the majority of them, they were peaceful. They were staying outside. In fact, they were still even beyond the barrier that was there. But recently, I've seen video now. The Hodge twins show it. The video. I think Charlie Kirk has shown it. I think I saw a video on Tatum Report that showed it. Basically, the cops pulled away the barrier and started waving people up to come through. Those that went through and they stayed on the steps, they were staying, peaceful. God bless them. That's what we have the right to do. We have the right to protest and peacefully. And, but those that are saying that you don't have the right to storm the Capitol building, you don't have the right to be on the premises, anything like that. No, that Capitol building is ours. All those federal buildings, they're ours. But I don't blame them. They're upset because our leaders that we elected refused to at least do an investigation into potential election irregularities. Here's the thing. Nancy Pelosi and some of the others, I think Schumer, calling for the expulsion of Ted Cruz and Senator Hawley. I believe he's the guy from Oklahoma. All because they suggested a 10-day investigation. They'll form a 15-person committee to do a 10-day investigation into voter irregularities. You tell me how wanting to make sure our elections are fair destroys our democracy. Tell me how. If you provide good evidence, good proof to me or to any American that says looking into a fair election is a violation of our democracy, I might change my tone. And I say might, not because I'm unwilling, but I say might because you're not going to be able to present it. There's no evidence that says looking into irregularities, the potential of them, destroys our democracy. Democracy is about electing officials. So if we don't know that they're fair, we should look into them. In fact, I've been loving it. I've been getting a history lesson. Got a history lesson from Theft of America of America's Soul by Phil Robertson and his Jesus Politics book. Great history lesson. We're getting history lessons from lawyers and other people that know the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson did what he did because of supposed irregularities in the election. Thomas Jefferson, way back before any of the technology we have today, was alive. And then it happened a few more times within so many odd years. 1876 it happened, which eventually caused the 12th statue that they used on Tuesday. The reason that statute was created was because of what happened in 1876. So, I'm for people still wanting to step up and pressure our politicians to look into this matter. And it shouldn't bother any American to want that. Stop listening to the media. The media has been pushing the same lies, listening to these, and really, actually, I don't even know if they're listening to these Democrats that are pushing that it's going to ruin the democracy if we look into these irregularities. Where was that tone during the Russian collusion? I don't recall one single conservative saying you're going to destroy our democracy by looking into this Russian collusion. I don't remember that. But that's the same thing. That Russian collusion was looking into an irregularity into our elections. They did the investigation. They found no evidence of Russian collusion. Thank God for that. But you were willing to do that, and you're not willing to look to see if we ourselves are corruptible enough to do that. Oh no, we American politicians are honest. I mean, the reason Trump won in 2016 is because most people know you politicians are not honest. You want to get Ted Cruz kicked out because he wanted to form a 15-person committee. God bless Cruz. He was still fighting for the American people. He was still fighting for the integrity of our elections, to actually uphold democracy. Thank God for Ted Cruz. Thank God for Hawley for joining him. Thank God for Senator Mike Braun from Indiana, for wanting to also still investigate the potential of irregularities. If we find out that there was none, awesome, then we can trust our elections, right? But I would say this, the last 4 years, it seems like we can't, whether it was the Russian collusion case or now this. Now it does really feel like, man, if we go and vote, is it going to matter? Yes, it still matters. Voting still matters. Because if they get caught and they did rig something, and they cheated, then guess what? That gets found out, then our integrity of elections is upheld, and because you still voted, your vote still counts. So yes, it matters. We should still vote. But I get it. I get those feelings. It's getting to the point now where we're like, can we vote and it make a difference? But man, it's sad to me that we have so many supposed leaders in our country that are seemingly hypocritical, backstabbing, don't really care about the people. And I find it so ironic that our politicians now are even saying, "Oh, we're coming together with this whole storming of the Capitol building." Maybe you politicians, because the truth of the matter is, no, I didn't like the violence. There was no reason to break the windows, try to bust down the door. There's no reason for that. But they had every right to be there. You don't have the right to use lethal force. Then not to mention Senator Graham saying we should have, agreeing with Bernie Sanders saying we should have used lethal force. They had backpacks, and who knows, they would have had could have had bombs. I tell you right now, if they had bombs, they could have just thrown those backpacks right in there after they broke the windows and started blowing stuff up. If they had bombs, trust me, they could have ignited them. They could have set them off. At that point, there was going to be no stopping that. But that didn't happen. And one lady that got shot served the country, Ashley B. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She got shot. Turns out she served the country. Yeah, she was climbing through a window. Shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, once you start trying to break down the door, windows, break in that way, when you try to break in, cops are within their right to use lethal force. Because if you're willing to show that you're willing to knock down doors, you're probably willing to do anything else. So, that doesn't mean that is what you would have done, but cops don't know that. That's why I like what Brandon Tatum said about the situation. He didn't say that she didn't, deserve to get shot. He wasn't saying she deserved it, but what he was saying was that she was shot in the neck area. He says cops aren't trained to shoot lethally. They're trained to shoot center mass. And yes, you can still potentially die from center mass, but there are plenty of people who have lived too. So that this area is a good area to subdue the person, but also potentially still keep them alive. And that's what he was saying should have happened. She should have been shot center mass. It's fine to stop her with your gun, but it should have been around here, not up here. And I'm thankful he was a former police officer. He knows the training. He knows what he's talking about. So I know I can trust what he's saying, and I can learn a little bit too while I'm at it. Because trust me, I don't know everything about policing because I'm not a police officer. But that being said, again, I get why she was shot, but it's sad because she was unarmed. She didn't have a bomb on her. She didn't have a gun. Didn't have a knife. In fact, even I'm pretty sure just about everyone that was breaking them windows and things were unarmed. I'm not 100% positive on that. And, but, it's just getting sad. The hypocrisy, everything. Like, why is Senator Graham saying they should have used lethal force? Where was all this talk during the riots? People burning down buildings, throwing Molotov cocktails, shooting people. Where was this? Oh yeah, I recall President Trump asked several governors if he could send in the National Guard. And they all told him no. Funny to me how those violent acts weren't condemnable, but this one was. I'll admit, I condemned it on social media. Not that anyone saw it because, who cares? But and I'll still condemn it. I don't think that was the way to go about it. But those that were just standing on the steps, those that were just, getting loud, shouting, you have that right. And this whole notion that Trump incited it, well, maybe he did. Unintentionally. Brandon Tatum again brought up that he basically said he believes Trump incited it. You're talking about all this election fraud and all this stuff, and you're talking about protesting, come here to D.C. Well, yeah, Trump did do that. And I can see how that could incite violence. But I'll tell you, I listened to Trump's speech. I was watching Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was airing the Trump speech when he got there to the rally. And trust me, he didn't amp me up to want to get up off the couch while I was watching it and storm a building. He did give me hope, though. He I was hoping. When he was talking, I was like, yeah, I hope. But to be honest, I do believe God was telling me, hey, look, it's not going to happen like you think. My hope was still there, but God knows more than I do. God knows more than you do. And, we have to be ready. So ultimately, was I mad about the decision? Yes, I was frustrated. But no amount of words that Trump or anyone else said would have made me do what happened. I probably would have loved to have been there. I probably would have loved to have peacefully been there with those that were peacefully protesting. Because again, we have that right. But I think it's a sad time right now. Sad because I cannot believe what's going on, and we're so blind to see it. Trump is this, Trump is that, Trump is a white supremacist, Trump is a dictator. Man, I was listening to Joe Biden a little yesterday and trying to gather in just what he was saying. And he started bashing Trump. Things that Trump says is what dictators say. And yes, I'm paraphrasing a little bit what he said, but that's what he was saying. He was saying what Trump says is a dictatorship. Man, if you really want to talk about a dictatorship, newsflash. You want to mandate masks. You want to mandate the vaccine. You want to mandate a whole bunch of things. You want to add abortion coverage to taxes, probably through health care. I got news for you. There are many Americans that don't want to pay for abortions. I'm one of them. No way do I want to pay to have somebody murder a baby. And I don't want to hear that, well, they're just a blob of cells. They're not an actual human life. That is a human life. That isn't a blob of cells. And even if it was, I recall learning in biology that even a blob of cells is a living thing. So, make sense of that for me. I don't want to pay for that. And if you ask me, that's dictatorship. That's being a dictator. How dare you abuse your power and say you're going to mandate masks for 100 days? Another news flash. Masks are already in place. Businesses require them to step in. Airports, you have to wear one even while on the plane. Train stations, you have to wear one while on the train. Masks are already basically mandated. Not fully by government, but Indiana, they're still doing masks. I'm pretty sure the rest of the states are. Another thing, mandating the vaccine. I don't want the vaccine. My wife doesn't want the vaccine. There are plenty of others that don't. My dad does. My dad wants the vaccine, but he wants it because he's been getting the flu shot for many years, and he feels like the flu shot has helped. Good. That's fine. And he hasn't had any bad adverse reactions. Neither has my brother David, who my dad has been getting the flu shot for. I'm glad. But that's the thing. There have been people that have already died from the COVID vaccine. If you mandate it, you're going to risk killing people from the vaccine. Newsflash. Not everybody's going to be able to take that vaccine and be fine. Newsflash. There's a good possibility that the majority of people will be fine taking it. And that's fine. I've never taken the flu shot. And I'm not gonna. I'm not afraid of some virus. A virus taking me down isn't the end of the world. Just as, no, I don't worry. I don't want to concern myself with such things. If you do, that's fine. I will say this, though. If you're a Christian, you should be disturbed by these mandates, and you should even be more disturbed that you're forgetting what Jesus has promised, which is a way better life than this one. We can live it now, and we can live it after death. Let's remember that joy, that peace that he gives us now. And then remember that it'll be tenfold when we get to heaven and be with him forever and ever. Let that put a smile on your face. That's what we've been promised. That's why I'm not worried about the virus. That's also why I don't want to worry too much about what's going on in our politics. But we have to be ready. Because I'm telling you, there's a good possibility that our freedoms are going to be taken away. We've already seen it. Governors and mayors that have been enacting these COVID restrictions, not even following it themselves. What's that tell you? They're not following it. Don't you find it interesting how you haven't heard too many politicians getting the COVID? Don't you find that interesting? Are they taking the hydroxychloroquine and not telling people? Are they taking vitamin D and not telling people it works? My dad's taking vitamin D for an issue he was having. He has not gotten COVID, and he's susceptible to it. He could even be potentially killed by it because of his heart disease and because of diabetes. But he hasn't gotten it. So in other words, there are definite things that work outside of a vaccine, outside of a mask, outside of even social distancing. But what is it? What is it? What aren't they telling us? Or are they just... They're more than likely not telling us, though, because they want to keep us in fear. There is no easier control than fear. Ask Satan. Satan will push fear on us all day. I mean, it's fear has been one of the reasons why I don't make certain moves. I worry that people won't listen to me. I worry that I'm not a good enough writer. I love writing. I don't want to care that I'm not a good writer. I love talking about the Lord. And I definitely don't want to be ashamed about it. Just be ready. I know there are going to be people that disagree, but I'm telling you, just be ready. I think there is coming a time where we will have to fight, stand for our faith, be that unashamed. We haven't really had to worry about that in America. Maybe that's why we've gotten so complacent. Maybe that's why we've gotten a little bit more quiet, because we have not had to really fight for our faith. Apostle Paul was willing to be in chains for his faith. He was stoned a couple times for his faith in Jesus Christ. He was finally killed because of his faith in Jesus Christ. Same with Peter. So when I say fight, I want to say this. What I mean by that is be unashamed. Proclaim Jesus. Shout his name. Let him know of his beautiful, wonderful love. That it don't matter what government does. It doesn't matter what any people outside of government does to us. It doesn't matter. Jesus still loves us. And guess what? He loves them too. He does. He loves them. But that's the great news. No matter what they do to us, we can still proclaim the good news of Jesus Christ. And if they take our lives for it, well, so be it. There have been plenty of Christians that have lost their lives over it. And yes, I know other religions have had people martyred too for their beliefs. I know. What I'm not shocked by is that Jesus told us we would be. They were willing to kill him. Why wouldn't they be willing to kill us? And again, in America, we haven't had to worry about that. Thank God for that. That was God's doing. That freedom of religion, the First Amendment, that was God's doing. In fact, in Jesus' Politics and the Theft of America's Soul, Phil points that out. That the Founding Fathers wrote about it. Why they did what they did. Why they made those amendments. Quotes some good letters. I am going to highly recommend reading both of those books. Read them. They're great. Because if it'll do anything, it'll at least help you keep the faith and stay strong. It'll do that. But I tell you, does it suck? Yeah. It almost feels like, what now? But God bless those that aren't feeling that way, that are, they're able to pick up like, hey, we're going to be just fine. Yeah, we are. Duck Call Room, them guys, man, they're fun to watch. They are. They know they're going to be just fine. They're going to keep being unashamed of the gospel, and they're going to keep doing what they're doing. If they eventually get kicked out because of it or what have you, they're going to do it until so. And good, because they're funny, they're fun. Cy Robertson, the brother of Phil Robertson, He's just a goofball. He is so fun to listen to. And it's good, clean humor. And it's a good reminder that, hey, one, we can laugh still. Two, we can smile. And we can still have our hope. And that's what I'm going to try and do my best. Knowing who I am, I know that there are days where it's hard because I have darker thoughts. I don't always have happy thoughts. I grew up terrified of the dark. And when I got over that, it did a complete 180. And instead of being terrified of it, I've embraced it. And, so that's... And some of it could be because of the verbal abuse that I took for many years. I don't know. Could be. But I thank God that he still, he has his children out here that they're remembering that. But anyway, I just, I had to talk about the hypocrisy. Sorry. But things just don't add up. You're complaining about people breaking windows and doors in the Capitol building, but yet you didn't want to do anything about the riots that were going on for BLM. I'm not talking about the protesters. I saw peaceful protesting for BLM. Absolutely fine. But like I said, Michelle Obama said only a fraction were riots. Well, so what? That fraction, that small little bit that they were, should have been stopped. And no one even wanted to stop that. Should have been stopped. I'm not saying people should have died. I'm saying it should have been stopped. I don't care if they used tear gas. But Biden had the nerve to complain about the tear gas. He had the nerve to complain about the tear gas. And then, but he didn't want to do anything at the Capitol. Dude, you sat there and you complained along with your your colleagues complaining that Trump even wanted to stop them. Hypocrite. That's hypocrisy. So yeah, it bothers me. I see it. I hear it. We want to keep being blind, put blinders on and putting earplugs in our ears. Whatever. It's your choice. But I don't want to. I want to hear what both have to say, both right and left. Who's being honest? Right now, none of them. Call myself a conservative because I believe that conservative means upholding the Constitution. To conserve. That's where they got that word conservative from. To conserve. Conserve. You know what that word means, and if you don't, get a dictionary. That's why I vote conservative. Plus, I also believe that, again, our first few amendments, the Constitution, God-given. It was blessed by God, for sure. Why wouldn't I want to keep that? Why wouldn't any American want to keep that? Why wouldn't any Christian American not want to keep that? Just something I wanted to point out. I don't know. Think what you want. It's okay. Alright? But remember, try and smile. I know it's gloomy, but we still have a hope. We still have a promise in Jesus Christ. Keep that faith. You've heard, keep the faith, keep the faith, keep the faith. Even Biden has said, keep the faith. Keep the faith in who? In Jesus Christ. That's who. Keep the faith. God bless.